Bulls training camp day 1 is in the books, a 2-hour and 15-minute practice. This according to our guy KC Johnson over at the new Chicago Sports Network. We got to see some shoot-arounds, some drills from videos posted by the various beat writers on the Bulls beat. Overall, seemed to be a very energetic, tough practice. We were able to hear from a few guys after practice in their interviews with reporters, and so I've done this every year. I'll be doing a quick recap of the Bulls day 1 training camp as they set to prepare for, believe it or not, their first preseason game next Tuesday against the Cavs. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Now, we're only going to be able to get tiny glimpses into what goes down at practice. The Bulls do most of their camp behind closed doors without the media. They then, generally speaking, open up the last few minutes, shoot around for reporters to come in and observe and interview players. So while we'll highlight day 1 of camp, it is, of course, highlights from what the media has reported out and has visibility to. And to be honest, I feel like there wasn't that much that came out of day 1. Like, if I'm being frank, and maybe I'm just putting this out too early after their practice and more details are going to be coming out shortly thereafter, but just a few highlights and takeaways that I thought were worth sharing. I think first and foremost on everybody's mind going into camp, especially what we heard yesterday on Media Day from Josh Giddey, in that he hasn't been playing as of yet and is still on the road to recovery from that ankle injury he sustained at the Olympics. What's his status, as well as the injury status of Patrick Williams and even that of Lonzo Ball, who's about to embark on something that has never been done before and is going to be getting his first real taste of real physical competitive basketball in camp. And Billy Donovan did provide an update on the status of all these guys. Josh Giddey did practice, but it was all non-contact work. Lonzo Ball did some contact and some non-contact drills. And Pat did pretty much everything, but they're still keeping an eye on his load after that surgery that he had in the offseason. I don't know why, but I'm still kind of weirded out by the whole Josh Giddey situation that we had literally never heard up until yesterday that he was still recovering from that ankle injury at the Olympics. And even though he brushed it off and said, not a big deal, if this were the playoffs right now, I would be out there playing and that he'll be ready to go by opening night. But then comes out on day 1 of training camp and was the only guy to do just non-contact drills. Like, even Lonzo did more than he did. Again, I know they're being cautious with Giddey as they view him as a big piece for the team's future, but something just hasn't been sitting right with me since this news was revealed. And yes, I'm sure part of it is because we've all been so skeptical of the Bulls medical staff. They've downplayed injuries in the past or haven't been as forthcoming with the information on what's going on. But yeah, I'm just a little skeptical on where this is going based on the history of this team. But even the skepticism aside, hopefully they're able to get Josh back out there and running scrimmages with the team at practice. You kind of need him as your main facilitator to be running things out there with the guys at this critical time in training camp leading up to the start of the season. But anyway, we'll see how things go for the rest of the week. If we finish up camp and Giddey still hasn't done any contact drills, yeah, that's not good. And we might be looking at something a little more serious than they're letting on. For Lonzo, I mean, great to hear that he did some contact, and at least as far as what has been said so far, been revealed, he did so without incident or any setbacks. We did see Lonzo getting some shots up with Peter Patton, jumper and release looks smooth. They did say that they're still going to take things day to day with Lonzo to see how he responds with what he's been able to do in camp thus far. And then for Pat, they actually interviewed Pat after practice, and he said he feels good, ready to go, happy, healthy, energized for the season. What I did find interesting, when he was asked about any setbacks that he's had since Summer League, which was when the last time he spoke to the media, and he said he hadn't gone through any setbacks, and that he's been playing 5-on-5 in those informal mini camps. So I guess the report that came out from, I believe it was Darnell Mayberry of The Athletic, wasn't that accurate, because all of us Bulls content creators and fans were all up in arms, like, here we go again, our young guys just cannot stay healthy. Another setback for Pat. This is more serious than we think it is, especially with how he went down last season, came back for a couple of games and then missed the rest of the year. The Bulls just paid this guy $90 million, and then the man is like, nah, I'm actually fine, haven't had any setbacks. I don't know, man. Maybe we just need to take all these reports with a grain of salt, especially when they're coming from, these quote-unquote sources that they never reveal who the source is. But whatever, I'm just glad Pat is healthy, feels good, and is ready to go. The team did say they would be monitoring his foot closely throughout camp to make sure he doesn't have any incidents, of course. Pat did also add he plans to be in a bunch of different lineups and that he thinks the Bulls are going to be moving the ball a lot more. The ball is going to be in his hands more, which is obviously something you want to hear considering we've been asking for this for damn near 2 to 3 years now. We did get to see the Bulls rookie Buzelis warm up, get some shots up, work out with Peter Patton. Billy Donovan did clear up one point that he mentioned last week that a lot of people were freaking out about, even though I personally didn't take any issue with it. But it was clearing up what he said about the Bulls being open to sending Modest down to the G League at some point this season for development purposes. And Billy Donovan did say, look, my point was we would be open to doing whatever we needed to do to develop him. It's not like it's part of our plan. That was a direct quote, which again, I think is fair. Like if Modest comes out to start the season and he clearly just does not look ready, I don't see any harm in giving him some development opportunities to get some run down in the G League. I don't think it's going to happen because in my view, based on what we've seen thus far, he's too good for that. But we won't know until the games start being played just how ready he's going to be. I think he should be part of the rotation. I think he should get more run than someone like Torrey Craig if they're going to make it a year about actual development, but that's just me. I'm obviously not the coach or the GM. But yeah, that was kind of it. I was hoping we would hear from Zach Lavine, hear from Coby, maybe see some more drills being run. I'm sure we'll get some nice edits coming out of the Bulls TV team. They always do a great job, but thus far, nothing has come out like an all access into training camp. So I'm sure more will come out tomorrow. We'll get to hear from more of the guys. I'll obviously keep you guys updated as more details on training camp come out. In the meantime, of course, let me know your guys' initial impressions on training camp. And of course, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.